Hello, this is Sherman Blackwell, Executive Director at Singing River Services. Thank you so much for joining us today for Singing River Services Presents. It is such a delight to have you tune in, and we certainly are appreciative of many of the comments. I know many people look into this kind of program. It's a unique program, of course. You know, not a lot of programs on the air. We talk about mental health issues, but we think it's a very deserving one. And of course, the goal and design of this program is to educate the community about not only the services that we have, but about the issues concerning mental health. You know, we're at the beginning of a new year, and the data is strictly accurate when you talk about 1 out of 5 people in the next 12 months that you encounter are going to have some type of mental health issue. That's going to be either chronic or it may be something that's transient, but they're going to have it. And so when we reduce the stigma and we educate the public, or we attempt to educate the public, and we kind of take the venom out of that. We understand that there's a place to go, there's a place to call, there's a place to see, there's where you can get help. Historically, with mental health issues, there have been a lot, and substance abuse issues and other issues, people just haven't known where to go, what to do. If you have heart issues, people know where to go, where to do. So there are a lot of great places, a lot of interesting and a lot of skilled helpers in our community. And today, we're going to have 2 very special guests on the program. We have Elizabeth Lewis and we have Jason Jarreau from Oxford House. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you. This is the first time on the program here, and there, I'll be quite honest with you, you know, I can't tell you that I've heard a lot about Oxford House, but there's a reason for that. Y'all recently come into the state. So, but before we go there, let's start with you, Elizabeth, if you will. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in Oxford House.
Okay, well, I'm Elizabeth and I'm a person in recovery. I started using and drinking at a very young age, and my disease progressively got worse. I kept getting arrests on supervised probation, facing prison. They gave me the opportunity to go to long-term treatment, so of course that's what I chose. After 9 months of long-term intense treatment, I was ready to graduate, but my counselor thought I needed structured living, sober living. So I interviewed at Oxford House. I was immediately accepted. It's a beautiful home, and it became my family. I was elected as the officer, treasurer of the house, and then I eventually became the chapter secretary, and then I eventually opened a women's house in the state of Oklahoma. Then I moved to Oklahoma City as a part-time outreach, and now I am in Mississippi.
Okay. So you've had a journey. How long has that been? How long have you been with Oxford House?
I've lived in Oxford House for 3 years.
Okay.
Over 3 years,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Good deal. Good deal. Jason?
Well, I'm Jason, and I'm also a person in recovery. My journey started into my addiction was in 2011. It took me to living on the streets, homeless in New Orleans. Got in some trouble and went to jail, and then my family sent me to treatment. I was there for 28 days, and at the end they offered and suggested sober living, but I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I wanted to go home. And it was 2 weeks after that I realized real quick that being around, while it was a supportive group, I needed to be around people that understood what I was going through.
Had a little kryptonite there.
Yeah. And so I got a number to Oxford House. I interviewed and was accepted. First thing they told me whenever they accepted me was welcome home, you know, and I realized real quick that these people were also going to be my family, and my family really grew. In Baton Rouge, we had 18 houses at that time. The state of Louisiana, we had around 60-something houses.
Wow.
So I got involved. I was elected treasurer of my house also. I got involved in the chapter, which was chapter chair. We had 6 houses in my chapter. And then I got involved on a state association level where I was state association treasurer. So.
Excellent, excellent. So,
and here I am today.
Your relationship with Oxford House has been for how long?
I got accepted February 1st, 2012 on my birthday.
2012, okay, great, great. Since it's new, and of course reason you're on this course is to inform the public. One of you tell it what the origin. Around here you say Oxford House, and people thinking Oxford, Mississippi.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what is Oxford House.
Well, Oxford House was formed back in October of 1975 out of Silver Springs, Maryland. It was a group of individuals that were in a state, county-run sober living home, and the funds were running out. So some people in the rooms suggested to the gentleman that why don't you get money and open your own home? So they did that, and back then it cost about $1,200, which was a lot of money back then. And they opened the house and started saving money, and then in turn saved money and opened up another house, and then another house. And then in 1988, they formed the Oxford House World Services, which is Inc., to provide the education and streamline Oxford House Incorporated.
Okay, and so now I understand you're in 47 states?
We're in 47 states. We're in 5 different countries: the United States, Canada, UK, Ghana, and Australia, and we have over 1,700 houses.
Wow. Wow. Now, when you say have these houses, tell us a little bit about the modus operandi. This is not a treatment center.
It is not a treatment center.
Tell us how it's set up.
Sure. It's, I'll take that if you want. It's independent sober living. So what that means, self-run, self-supported. So the people in the house run the house. We don't have any house managers. There's nobody on staff. We have a saying, so to say, the inmates run the asylum. And so we have 5 different positions, and those people in the house serve on those positions. We have a weekly house meeting that is the main function of how our house is run. We talk about the finances of the house, who's ahead or behind on rent, any issues we may be having amongst anybody, and then we talk about what bills are due, when we pay the bills, things like that. What's going on with us personally, professionally, as well as our recovery.
Interesting. Of course, we have a residential program through our student center, which you're very familiar with, and then the different follow-along program, 3/4 way, whatever you want to call that, and that's very important, of course. It's interesting to think, we normally, we get, not everybody, but in our program, you get the judicial system is involved. And people are court-ordered to treatment, which is, I understand the concept of that, and some of that, is a little ambiguous, but it works. I mean, I think you understand that.
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't mean, a lot of people understand that,
Right.
So differentiate or give, let's digress a little bit from each of you. What can you point to, what was the turning point when you said this far and no further? Liz?
When I realized that I was completely powerless is when I was given the opportunity to go to treatment other than prison. I was unwilling to quit, and so I brought drugs into the facility, and I had to go to jail to face that consequences. I was in jail for 6 weeks, and finally, the day before my court date, to go sign for my 3 that I thought I was going to have to do, I got on my knees, and that's when I realized, I surrendered, and I would completely realize that I was powerless. And I was in limbo, and I realized that, if I need to go to prison, then I need to go to prison. And that's when I realized, again, I was given the opportunity, and I still couldn't stop. So then I finally put my will aside and decided I was going to take other people's suggestions to get on the right path. And that's what I've done, and I believe that that's why I am still clean and sober today.
For 4 years.
4 years,
Is that correct?
the 24th of this month. Yes, sir.
And how does that feel to talk about that?
Oh, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. It's the hardest
to
thing
be.
I've ever had to do. The most rewarding.
Saved your life.
Oh, completely. And that's what's so beautiful about Oxford House is you can see people, like we go to the Stevens Center to do monthly presentations. You can see people, we interview them into our homes, and then you can see them grow, start working a program, get a sponsor, work the steps. They eventually develop a higher power, and their life blossoms. And for me to witness that and hopefully be a part of that is just a blessing. That's what it's all about for me.
Yeah. Jason?
For me, I think it was the third week I was in treatment that I realized, maybe I did have a problem. All these people kept telling me years and years, something's, maybe you should stop doing this. And I started taking suggestions. All the literature and the education that they were giving me made sense. Something clicked. To this day, I don't know exactly what it was, and I really don't care to know.
Right.
I just know that it works.
Yeah.
And so, when I got out, I continued to take suggestions. I got a sponsor, and I continued to work a 12-step program. And even to this day, I feel it's very important to stay connected. And Oxford House just grounded my recovery. And just like Elizabeth, seeing those people come in and that transformation take place is the best reward possible for our jobs to actually see them grasp a hold to where we were at once, and hopefully to continue on to where we are today.
Yeah, well, I'm encouraged by both of your courage to talk about it. I mean, stand up here and talk about it, and that's a powerful thing. I do believe that you reinforce. We are completely different. We are different than the animal kingdom in that we have the ability to think about how we feel, and we can reinforce that, with the things that we say, and and that can help us be influenced by the things that we do. So that's very courageous, and it's got to be a great thing to say. Inspiration. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I've always believed you don't have to be hit by a bus to understand that is a bad thing. However, when you can talk to someone such as yourself or someone and say, hey, I've been there,
yes,
did that, and you can do it. You may not do it on the same track, it may not be the same deal, but that's got to be got to make you feel good about yourself.
It does.
It's got to make you feel good about yourself. This is Sherman Blackwell. I have two very special guests on today. We have Jason Jarreau, and then we have Liz Lewis. Both are from the Oxford House, which is now, they've been in Mississippi and have 7 different houses now, 5 on the coast,
yes, sir.
2 in Jackson, and out of an organization that started back in 1975 and has grown tremendously. When we're going to take a break, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about some of the particulars that go on there and some more things about Oxford House. But let me remind you the number that you see on the screen there. That number is available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you'd like to know more about one of the 40 different programs that we have at Singing River Services, or would like to know more about Oxford House and where it may fit in to your life, then you can call us and we'll get you hooked up with them. We're going to take a break. Be right back after these messages.
Charter Bank, where success is measured one customer at a time. Bauer Financial, America's leading bank rating and research firm, has awarded Charter their highest 5-star rating, conveniently located in Pascagoula, Ocean Springs, Biloxi, and Gulfport. Charter Bank's integrity, service, and stability is practiced by family-friendly personnel. Visit our website, mycharterbank.com. 5-star rated, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
1-to-1 is how we measure success.
Hello, this is Sherman Blackwell, and welcome back to the second half of today's program. Thank you so much for joining us today. My guests are Elizabeth Lewis and Jason Jarreau from Oxford House, and Oxford House is a fairly new venue here in the state of Mississippi. How long?
We've been here since December of 2013.
Okay, so just right here at the doorstep, kind of. And we've been talking to them about the concept of addiction, and then we talked about the history of Oxford House. Now, as I mentioned in the first segment, our Stevens Center program is a 30-day residential program. You leave there, you have the option to do 3/4 way, step down. A lot of this is court ordered and done, and so sometimes you get the A, B, and C, and then I'm out the door and I'm gone. I've heard people say, I'm can't wait till I get out of here because I'm going back to the.
I said it.
I was going to ask, did you find it's a 3-step forward, 2-step back process? We talk about addiction as a disease. Mm-hmm. It is, and I'm no surgeon, but stenosis of the aorta is a disease. Mm-hmm. We can fix that. Mm-hmm. They can go in there and you see that, and there it is. This is an elusive process. Mm-hmm. Give me your general philosophy, or the philosophy that you've learned. Some people, and you can talk about Oxford House too, because you don't have to be in treatment to come to Oxford House. You've got people out from under the bridge. Mm-hmm. But both of you are your philosophy in it. I like what you said, Jason. You didn't know how it happened; it just happened. Mm-hmm. But was it 3 steps forward, 2 steps back?
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
Has it been easy? No. But when I got out of treatment, I went home. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I thought, this is it. I'm just going home. It'll be easy to do. I've got the information I need. And when I realized I hit the real world, I needed that additional support. And just like you said before, that structure. It's a semi-structured environment. So I don't think it's 2 steps back at all. For someone going into an Oxford House or into any sober living. But you've got to put that work into it. Yeah. Because it can be, but I don't think so at all.
Yeah. Still leaves you a step ahead if that, but I agree with you. I hear you. Some people make it just do it. Mm-hmm. For you?
I believe before Oxford House, it was definitely, I'm trial and error, 9 different treatment centers. Once I got into Oxford House, I dove right into service work. I stayed in the center and I was surrounded. So if I happened to fall, I had someone there to catch me. I feel that Oxford House there's a lot of freedom there. So you have to want it. You got to work for it. There's plenty of rope to hang yourself with. So you got to watch that. And that's the benefit too, is living with a bunch of men or women. It's that 24-hour peer support. So we can, so many things that people do, they might not be able to see, but the other house members can pick you up on that.
Spot 'em.
And we can call you out on it. We can have an emergency meeting, and we have contracts to kind of correct our behaviors, so we can grow.
Jason, tell what happens inside of an Oxford House.
Well, the way it actually functions, the way we work and make everything work is we have a weekly house meeting that we have to attend as house members. There's 5 different positions in the house. There's a president, a secretary, a comptroller, a treasurer, and a chore coordinator. The president is responsible for running the weekly house meeting. The secretary records all of the minutes that take place during the meeting, motions made, monies talked about. The treasurer balances the checkbook, pays the bills of the house, and then the comptroller collects all the rent from everybody each week and records that. And then the chore coordinator divvies up the chores and holds us accountable to cleaning and keeping up the house. So those positions are served by the people that are in their house, being self-run, self-supported.
Okay. Criteria for getting in?
It's an interview process. It's a democratically run house, so it's 80% vote to get into a house. A person would simply call the house to set up an interview. If they're in treatment, we can do a phone interview with them. If they're not in treatment, we can do an in-person interview. And the interview is basically just to get to know that person, more in depth. As well as that person has the opportunity to interview the house. With 7 different personalities living under one roof, there's going to be some conflict that's given. But we want to get to know that person to get to know them, because they have a right to be able to interview the house too.
What you mentioned earlier, there are 3 rules.
Mm-hmm. The 3 main charter rules to our Oxford House charters that we issue to the houses. They have to be financially self-supporting. Houses have to be democratically run, and the houses have to immediately expel anyone that returns to the use of drugs or alcohol. Those 3 rules are the backbone and operations of Oxford House.
Expel, just you're out the door and you're on your own.
That's correct. We give you 15 minutes to get much as belongings as you have that you can get, and that's to protect the integrity of Oxford House as a whole, as well as everyone else's sobriety within the house. Now they can come back at a later time if they have more stuff to get it, make an arrangement with the house.
To get them out immediately.
That's correct.
And are they banned from Oxford House then?
No, they're not, actually. If they want to interview at another house, they can do so. You know, if they want to come back to that particular house, if no other house in the area has openings, you know, willingness, and we ask that they have 30 days of some type of clean time to get re-interview.
I know you probably don't have any exact data, but what percentage would you put on that happens?
As far as relapsing and coming back?
Yeah.
In my experience, we're in Baton Rouge, where we had 18 houses, it's pretty regular. Unfortunately, the disease of addiction it runs rampant, so not everybody makes it. But having those available beds, helps those people along, hopefully. And some people it takes one time, some people, nine treatment centers. So
that's kind of what I meant by the 3 steps forward, 2 back, kind of in that kind of process. A house, you have men and women.
No co-eds.
No co-eds. Yeah.
Right. With addiction, normally have some type of co-occurring personality disorders and things like that along those lines. And that's got to be some of the most difficult and challenging things that happen when you're dealing with that. So it sounds like the structure is both outside but real strong on the inside. It sounds like it's very, very definitive. They understand this when you sign on the dotted line. You come in, you know that that this is the thing to do. What is the goal? You're in Mississippi now. How many houses? Tell us again.
We have 7 houses so far.
So far.
And that's the beauty of Oxford, is once one house fills, we open another. And that's why we're able to grow as much as we are.
Okay. How does that happen? If somebody wanted to find out more about Oxford House, or if someone here wanted to donate, help financially, how would they do that? How'd they get in touch with you?
www.oxfordhouse.org. It's all the information there. You can search vacancies. You can get phone numbers to any house throughout the country.
Oh, okay. So you're not confined to any particular area?
No, not at all.
And how many total houses altogether?
Over 1,700.
Over 1,700. Wow, great program. So this is really the, as you know, and as often been repeated, people go through treatment, whatever time, and then many times they don't have any place to go.
That's right.
And so, of course, then you lapse. You go back into the same. I know people that, and it's more than just changing your geography.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than that. But getting in with individuals that have sat where you sat, that's got to, you can go through, 3-hour class and go home, do all that kind of thing. That is so very important. I see a nexus of things that need to come together, and personality types are different. People are different changes, and some need that aspect. And so I see a lot of treatments, things that really reinforce, and I can see where this would reinforce, because you have up to 10 individuals.
Anywhere from 6 to 10.
6 to 10, so you 20 eyes looking at you at the maximum and doing that kind of thing. How long can someone stay?
That's the beauty of it. Individual can stay as long as they want to, until they're comfortable enough in sobriety to get back out on their own. DePaul University does a study on this every year, and they studied 200 individuals and stated that the individuals stayed in Oxford House from 15 to 18 months. 87% of those people never returned to the use of drugs or alcohol.
Wow, 87%.
And that number has never gone down since they started keeping their records on us.
That is excellent.
It's wonderful. It's outstanding.
That's powerful.
That is.
That's real powerful. Is there something that we need to say today to our audience that you want to really get across concerning the Oxford House? I think there's some beauty in it. I think you'll get a lot of attention when people hear that, because you get a lot of calls from treatment centers, but if someone said, hey, I'm tired of this, I'm going to come in, and what are the requirements that they have to meet so many meetings?
Yes, we do. You do have requirements during your first 30 days. You require you to get out and get a job. You require you to get out and get a sponsor, and you have to be actively working or plan a program of recovery with your sponsor. And then the first 30 days, we require you to do 5 12-step meetings a week, whatever 12-step program you choose. And then after that, it's 3 meetings a week, and it's really on the honor system. And the joy of that is that creates unity within the houses. They attend meetings together. And so we kind of learn what meetings to go to, and we know who's going to meetings and things like that, and hold each other accountable.
Right. Interesting, interesting. And there's positive reinforcement in that, I guess, and being in that family sense. You had said earlier people have been in, some say as long as 3 and 4 years, huh?
Yep.
Longer.
Or longer. Okay. And wow. And your position particular?
I'm the outreach for the state of Mississippi.
Outreach.
I'm also outreach for the state of Mississippi. We just have different territories.
Okay. Just territories. Are y'all the only 2 in the state
That's
representing
correct.
Oxford House right now? Working on the coast. And you're working in the central part of the state?
Central Northern, yes.
Central Northern, okay. So Elizabeth's outdone you by 5-2.
She has.
We started out here. He's great.
No, I'm just kidding. That's great. It is just, it's wonderful. I was not familiar with Oxford House, and just so delighted to be able to bring this to our audience. And so if you have any inquiries about that, I'm sure that Elizabeth and Jason would be glad to talk to you. And we can get you hooked up, referred to them by the number you see on the screen there. And but they can just call, talk to somebody.
It's that simple.
And just tag along what you said a while ago about donations and things like that. We are considered a 501c3 nonprofit, so anything that anybody wants to donate, any finances, we do provide receipts for that, and every little bit does help.
Every little bit does help,
Definitely.
and you have this success rate and the great things that go on. I know the Department of Mental Health, we traffic with, supports that, and
That's
I know
correct.
Mark Stovall is a big endorser of this program.
Yes.
He does, he's doing a great program, great guy, and this is a great program. So, all righty then. Well, if y'all got any closing comments, we're coming up on a minute left. You can go to oxfordhouse.org.
Yes, sir.
Okay. They'll pull up there and they'll give you, I guess, the history.
It gives you everything. It also has, a TV interview that we show at our presentations out there. It gives you a vacancy list up to the left-hand corner. You can search any vacancy with any of our houses within the world, and list the numbers, pictures of the houses, open vacancies, anything.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you very much for having us.
I appreciate you being here. This is Sherman Blackwell. I want to remind you, like that broken record that I am, of the number that you see on the screen there. That number, we think, is one of the most important numbers that you can know here in our catchment area. And if you would like to know more about one of the 40 different programs that we have at Singing River Services, if you would like free information regarding those programs, or free information concerning a behavioral health issue or a particular diagnosis or disease, we'll be glad to give you that information free. We have classes that we offer to the public free, so you just look into it. With a lot of great organizations in the community, we certainly endorse the Oxford House and appreciate them being there. Anybody that's trying to help somebody who's trying to help himself and looking to the higher power and getting it done, that's what is most important. And that is because people care. And Singing River Services cares about people. So, this is Sherman Blackwell. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to look forward to seeing you again next week with another special guest.